Is President Trump losing his mojo with MAGA? I'm going to give you 6 examples where that just may be the case. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Center Lane, the political discussion for those of us in the middle. Compromise is not a bad thing. Weekend edition. Well, President Trump has been struggling with his poll numbers, and his base seems to be fracturing, and his support seems to be somewhat withering. Let me give you 6 examples that I see. First and foremost, of course, if you haven't heard already, Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned. Her last day will be January 5th next year. And like it or not, I know she's been in his doghouse for a while and going up against him and, showing some backbone, which is, good. But she's also has a lot of MAGA support, okay? So with her resigning like this, it's not helping Trump's cause. And she does have a following. Who knows what she wants to do in the future. I predict that she will have a podcast within, soon, like Megyn Kelly, and making money on that, although she has a lot of money already. She's a very wealthy person. But anyways, I think that she was thinking about running for president in 28, so this could be part of the plan. I don't know. Maybe she just had an epiphany, and she gave some good reasons. You can watch her video that she put out. Secondly, the Epstein revolt. Well, Trump was going to lose that vote in the House, so he went ahead and gave permission for everybody to lead the way for transparency, which we'll see where that's at. I'm going to talk about Epstein on Monday and this whole deal that's coming up. But lost a lot of support. He was forced to show that he wanted it as well. And now we'll see what happens if he sits on it or if they mess with the papers, etc. We'll talk about that on Monday. But that's another thing, definitely showing a loss of support, kind of a lame duck status. He was going to lose that vote, and he don't like that. He don't like that. He's very angry. And the fact that he signed off on it in the middle of the night with no fanfare tells you all you need to know about that. He likes the camera. He didn't get the camera there. Number 3, the H-1B visas, bringing foreign workers in to help open up new facilities, trained professionals, whatever, instead of using American workers. He has upped that number more than anybody else has ever done it. He likes to be the best and highest at everything. Well, you've got the most of those people coming in right now. And Laura Ingraham tried to pin him down at her radio show last week or on a television, and he was also caught, having to admit that Trump Org, his organization, they're up 53% on H-1B visas that they bring in foreign people in to help with their businesses. Obviously, he's got a lot more business now because he's been making money since he's been president, wink, wink. But, he's brought up 53% more than he ever has done before. So that really is not in the MAGA deal there at all. Social media is starting to turn on him. Joe Rogan was roasting him last week. Now, Joe Rogan was a supporter. Remember, he backed Trump, and now not so much. And there's several other the mainstream right wing mainstream influencers who are really starting to turn on him, and that is huge too, because that's where a lot of his meat and potato support was at. With the younger people perhaps, and it's starting to erode. Venezuela, this whole thing going on over there with MAGA does not like regime change. They don't like any foreign involvement in any wars. But the fact that we're piling up troops and stuff outside of Venezuela, trying to get Maduro out of there, if the conflict does widen even more than he's already blowing boats out of the water, which we don't. That's another whole thing. We don't know what that's all about. We haven't got much information. But if that goes in there and we get involved in all that, it could turn into another Afghanistan or another Iraq. Remember, Bush said, mission accomplished after we got rid of Saddam Hussein. But here's the problem with that. What happened in Iraq partially, and what could potentially happen in Venezuela is you get rid of Maduro, who takes his place? We got rid of Saddam Hussein. What happened? ISIS perked up. We just did this, and it's happening over in Tanzania right now. So those kind of insurgencies are always lying in wait. Plus, Venezuela military is very powerful. They're going to want to take over. So you get rid of Maduro, he's considered somewhat modern over there right now, believe it or not, a moderate person, believe it or not. So that's another whole thing, and MAGA wants nothing to do with that. Of course, lastly, the economy, and that's not just MAGA, but that's probably the biggest reason he's losing support across the board. But MAGA as well. He made a lot of promises he hasn't kept. Things are going to be so great. You're never going to have so much money. You don't know what to do with it, et cetera, et cetera. And people bought into that, and they're not seeing it. And we're almost a year into his deal now. He can't keep saying that Biden left him a mess because, did he? It wasn't. I don't know. It was a mess. That's a bit of a stretch there in itself. So. Another thing that's going on too, now those are the 6 reasons, but what's happening too behind the scenes is he's losing his donor base, and he's losing the big time donors. And guess who's going after these donors right now? Nikki Haley, Glenn Youngkin, Tim Scott. They're making right now they're making the moves to get, to take away, and that's the support that J.D. Vance was probably perhaps counting on, banking on. But as this thing goes along, we talked about J.D. Vance yesterday. If you didn't catch my podcast about him and what his future looks like or doesn't look like, but the donor base is getting wooed by some of these other people. We're a lot more moderate too, by the way. I'd like to see that happen with the Republican Party. So what do you guys think? Is Trump losing his mojo? I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Leave the comments down below. I love that, and I will talk to you on Monday.